rinse them off so they don't have any salts on them from the buffer solution.
You were saying the brown colors means that they're getting a little old.
Yeah, usually when they get older, they get a little bit darker in color. That doesn't necessarily mean they won't work as well. Bubble formation in them is concerning and will mean that they often will not work as well. But usually the brown discoloration just means that they're older,
Yep.
but may not mean that they are.
So are you going from 7 to 4 or 4 to 7?
I usually go from 7 to 4. You can go in the opposite direction, but it seems to work better if you go from 7 to 4.
Okay.
So this one's in 3. That's right. All right.
So if you do 8 vessel, you have to calibrate 8 times of the pH of
Yeah.
different vessel.
Yeah, if you do 8 vessels, then you have to connect all 8 probes that you're going to be using. And you can do the calibration for those all at the same time, but you do just have to get them all connected, all hooked up. And you can just do those all in the same buffer at the same time. There is not a way to calibrate them in different buffers at the same time, other than to turn off certain probes until you finish calibrating. All right, so now they're both in pH 7. The screen shows their current pH
Yeah.
values.
So this means and then you put the probe, pH probe there, and directly the software will show you the data. It means they
Yes.
already connected.
Yeah, they're already connected. They're already stabilizing in the buffer. You can look on here and see what the pH value is, and you can check, if you click on these, it will show you the raw values. If you have like a large negative number or a really huge number for these raw values, like 1,000 or something, then that might be a sign for concern. The raw values often are, they're indicative of basically how healthy your probes are. If it's a relatively normal number, both of these are within the realm of expectations, I would think it should work fine.
Okay. So when you put it in the standard pH, and then so you make it as exactly the standard pH value, and what is the acceptance you think it's okay, or you have to be exactly 7 or 4?
You generally just wait until the pH values stop moving very much, and then rather than having a limit to what you normally think is acceptable, instead you just hit calibrate offset. So instead of necessarily accepting it being off, you can just calibrate it and it will change it to be correct.
So if it's far away from 7 like now, and how do you change it?
Yeah, so 7 is our offset value.
Yes.
So if you click calibrate offset, it will move it directly to 7.
If not 7, how do you do?
If you wanted to use like 10 instead of 7, you can just change this number, type in 10, and then you can just calibrate offset.
Okay. So if the 7 is there, you just type 7 there. You make it 7.
Yeah.
Around the 7.
Yeah. Yeah, you can change those numbers to be whatever you want, depending on what buffers you're using. You hit calibrate offset for your buffer up here, and you can hit calibrate slope for your second buffer. In this case, since it's just a demonstration, we can go ahead and move on to the next thing.
Also, about 7, you said okay. Where do you accept it?
So if you hit calibrate offset, it'll set your pH value at the offset value. If you go onto your next buffer, then you can hit calibrate slope, and it'll set it to that next buffer value.
Okay.
If your probes are not working as they should, you can hit default, and it will reset the values for the readings to the default values. It will basically it will remove all calibration from the probes. If you can't get it to work, it's worth a try. You can just try hitting that and see what happens.
So this means, yes, you make it 7, and then here is 7, let's accept. But
Yeah.
if you make 7, here is far away, lower than 7, what do you do?
Yeah, so if this one does not get to 7,
Right.
typically, when they turned yellow just then, when I hit calibrate offset, that meant that they were trying to move to 7. If it, instead of turning green at the end and being close to 7, if instead it turns red, and the number is very different from 7, that means it failed.
Now how to adjust that?
So if it has failed, you can try hitting default and then try hitting calibrate offset again.
Okay.
If that still doesn't work, you might need to trade out your probe. If you trade out your probe and it still won't calibrate correctly, then you can try trading out your cable and trying it again and see if that works.
Or if possible, maybe you have to change the standard solution as well.
Yeah,
That's
if all of them are not reaching 7, it may actually be that your buffer is wrong. So you may need to trade out your buffer solution.
So this means this is your set 7, but this one is actually actually pH value. This means very close, then your probe is okay.
Yeah. If you have all of your probes reading about the same value and they're all green and everything looks good, then you're probably fine.
For the general pH probe, you can say the slope is above 90%. Can we see here it's the percentage of the slope?
The percentage.
Oh, he hasn't done the slope yet. So
Yeah,
he's
I
gonna
can
put in the
do-
pH
Okay.
4.
So,
Sorry.
Yeah, he's gonna put it in the
Yeah.
pH 4.
Oh, okay, after 4, yes.
Then he does the slope.
yeah. So let's do this. Just
It's
rinse
pretty
again.
common. This is how they do a slope for the other fermenters. It's all.
Yeah.
I see.
You're basically, it's just like any pH meter too. You calculate a slope with 2
After
buffers.
3 of them.
Yeah.
And you always do a 2-point calibration. Is there a way to do a 3-point?
I'm not certain that there's a way to do a 3-point, at least not in any way that I've figured out so far. There may be a much more complex way to do a 3-point. Alright, so those should go pretty rapidly. Correct values. And normally I let them sit for quite a while for pH calibration just to make sure that they are very stable
Yeah.
before
Then you do that.
leaving. And that way I have plenty of time to make media and get buffers ready and you have all my stuff.
Oh, so that's your work. All right.
Alright.
In this case, you can just do slope. And
Yeah, since this is just a
Right.
demonstration, we'll just go ahead and do it
it's only
right
like 30
away.
minutes have passed.
Yeah.
And they're kind of, is that green still?
So it's green, and now that I've hit calibrate slope, they've turned yellow, showing that they're actively trying to calibrate. This one takes a little bit longer because it's a little bit further away. It's still working. Should get there. Should work. It's not that far off.
So it's in working condition, every working area should be correct. If it's
Yeah.
yellow or red, and then it have problem.
Yeah. If it's yellow, then that means it's still trying to calibrate.
Still
If
okay,
it's red, then that means it didn't work. That means something went wrong.
Okay.
So,
And that one's brown. That one's a little
Yeah.
older too.
yeah. Yeah, the older they are, the longer it might take for them to catch up. And they may still work, fine. Oh, it turned red. So that means that it didn't work. So if it doesn't work, you can just try to do it again. If you just hit calibrate slope again, because now it actually shows the correct pH value. So it should work this time. But we'll see.
Oh, because we started early, maybe that was part of the
Yeah.
problem too.
Sometimes if you move it into a new buffer and you try to calibrate it
Oh,
before
there
it's
it
had
goes.
time to equilibrate, it won't work.
Yep.
So sometimes if you just let it sit in the buffer for a little bit longer, it'll work.